Hello, on this Wednesday, the 6th week of Easter. You may have seen on the news the Archdiocese of Chicago is sending out information, a lot of information and directions about the process of reopening, which is going to be quite a while. We're going to begin phase one, as we're calling it, with small things like groups of 10 to gather for weddings, funerals, baptisms, and then eventually down the road, at least a month or more, to the point of being able to open up the church for regular liturgies. Staff has gotten together and we're putting a team together at the direction of the Archdiocese to make these things happen. So you've been extremely patient. We all have. We're all in this together. So we're taking this one short step at a time, being first and foremost conscious of people's health and well-being and how we can do that as a community gathered together in the midst of this lethal virus that we experience. The readings today kind of point out to me a bit of an irony, certainly a mystery for ourselves. I'm in some ways isolated, many of us are. Even as families gathered together, we're kind of separated from one another from family. How many of us are looking forward to the opportunity of being able to give one another a hug? And yet, the readings today talk an awful lot about being one, being together. It certainly underscores our spiritual relationship with each other and with God. The responsorial psalm, heaven and earth are full of his glory. St. Paul in the Acts of the Apostles, and in him we live and move and have our being. And Jesus in the gospel itself speaks about how he will be sending the advocate when he comes after the resurrection. The advocate will, when she comes after the resurrection, will help us to understand more fully. Makes me think about the resurrection itself, hard for the human mind to grasp. It is the Creator's uniting of all of creation for all of eternity, saying, not even death will separate us. Difficult for the human mind to wrap itself around this truth. But John's Gospel says that the Spirit, the Advocate, will guide us in all truth if we let it. Some of you are probably reading Richard Rohr's Universal Christ. It struck me that he points out, when I know that the world around me is both the hiding place and the revelation of God, I can no longer make a significant distinction between the natural and the supernatural, between the holy and the profane. Everything I see and know is indeed one universe, revolving around one coherent center. This divine presence seeks connection and communion, not separation or division. All of this must somehow be usable and filled with potency, even the things that appear as betrayals or crucifixions. Why else and how else could we love this world? Nothing and no one needs to be excluded. A deep truth, spiritual awakening for myself, a reminder, and probably for all of us. And then a prayer from John the 23rd, as quoted by Mark Link. O Holy Spirit, Paraclete, perfect in us the work begun in Jesus, begun by Jesus. All I have to do is let the Lord help me.